Will may have followed Bill's advice, but now he is discovering that a business decision can still leave a deeply personal wound. The bold and the beautiful spoilers for Wednesday, July 15 place Will at the center of an emotional crisis. Bill already explained the situation in the simplest way possible. It was business, trade secrets had to remain protected, and Will apparently did what the situation demanded. But that explanation is not bringing Will any peace. Instead, he remains overwhelmed by regret because he kept important information from Electra. The decision may have made sense from a business perspective, but Electra is not simply another person connected to a professional conflict. She matters to Will personally. That changes everything. Will is now being forced to confront the difference between protecting confidential information and damaging trust. He may not have betrayed Electra in the traditional sense, but he still kept something significant from her. And when someone you care about realizes that you were not completely honest, the reason behind the secrecy does not always erase the hurt. Bill's point of view appears practical. He understands that business often requires difficult choices. People cannot always reveal everything they know, especially when private information or trade secrets are involved. From Bill's perspective, Will may have simply respected an obligation. But Will is not reacting like someone who believes the matter is settled. He is consumed by regret. That word is important because regret goes beyond ordinary disappointment. It suggests that Will keeps replaying the decision in his mind. He may understand why he did it, but he is still struggling with what it could mean for his connection with Electra. The new sneak peek reportedly shows Will hitting rock bottom. That does not necessarily mean his situation has reached a permanent ending, but emotionally it suggests that the pressure has become difficult for him to manage. Will is not simply worried about getting caught. He appears crushed by what his silence represents. The central conflict is not really about whether business secrets should remain protected. The deeper conflict is whether Will can accept the emotional consequences of choosing secrecy when Electra expected honesty from him. That is where Bill's explanation begins to feel incomplete. It was business may explain the decision, but it cannot automatically repair a personal relationship. Business rules can protect information. They cannot protect someone from feeling excluded, misled, or betrayed. For Will, this becomes a painful lesson about loyalty. He may have believed that he was being loyal to the professional responsibility placed in front of him. At the same time, Electra may see his silence as a failure of personal loyalty. Both ideas can exist together, which is exactly why this situation carries so much emotional tension. There may not have been an easy choice. If Will revealed protected information, he could have crossed a serious line. By keeping it from Electra, however, he created distance between them. Now he has to live inside that conflict. The spoilers do not confirm exactly how Electra will respond next or whether she will be ready to understand Will's position. What they do make clear is that Will is already punishing himself. His regret is controlling the moment. That emotional collapse matters because Will cannot simply repeat Bill's words and expect himself to feel better. He cannot tell his heart that it was only business when the person affected was Electra. And the harder he tries to separate business from emotion, the more obvious it becomes that the two are now completely connected. Will's reaction also reveals something important about his character. He cares about how his choices affect Electra. If he did not value her trust, he would not be falling apart over this. His pain shows that the relationship matters. But caring after the damage is done does not make the consequences disappear. That is the uncomfortable truth Will now faces. He may be hoping that his intentions will matter. He may want Electra to understand that he was not trying to hurt her. Yet even a decision made without cruel intentions can leave someone feeling deeply wounded. Trust is often damaged through silence, not only through lies. And that may be what Will is struggling to accept. Bill's influence adds another layer to the story. Bill is trying to frame the situation through experience and practicality. He knows that difficult decisions are part of business. He may believe Will should stop blaming himself for fulfilling a responsibility. But Will's emotional reality is different. He is not only Bill's son dealing with a professional issue, he is someone who fears that a choice has changed the way Electra sees him. That fear can be heavier than any business consequence. Will may also be realizing that following another person's logic does not protect him from personal responsibility. Bill can explain why the secret had to be kept, but Bill cannot carry Will's guilt for him. Will has to decide what this choice means. Was he protecting something important? Was he protecting himself? Or did he underestimate how painful the secrecy would become once Electra was involved? The spoilers do not provide a final answer, and that uncertainty is exactly what keeps the storyline tense. Will is reaching an emotional low, but the real question is what he does from that place. Regret can push someone to become more honest. It can also cause panic, desperation, and even more mistakes. For now, Will appears trapped between what he was told was necessary and what his heart is telling him was damaging. And no business explanation can easily silence that conflict. While Will struggles with guilt and the possible loss of Electra's trust, another emotional moment is developing between Steffy and Daphne. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say Steffy will be there for Daphne, offering her comfort and support. The details behind Daphne's emotional state are not fully explained in the spoiler. Because of that, it is important not to assume what has happened or what specific problem she is facing. What is clear is that Daphne needs support, and Steffy chooses to give it. This moment may be quieter than Will's emotional collapse, but it still carries meaning. Comfort is rarely offered without a reason. Daphne appears to be dealing with something difficult enough that Steffy recognizes her need for reassurance. Steffy's presence could make the scene especially important. She is not described as confronting Daphne, pressuring her, or demanding answers. She is there to support her. That suggests the focus will be on emotional understanding rather than conflict. For Daphne, that support may arrive at a moment when she feels vulnerable. Sometimes a character does not need a solution, they need someone who is willing to stay beside them while the pressure settles. Steffy appears ready to fill that role. The scene also provides an emotional contrast to Will's storyline. Will is isolated inside his regret. Bill has given him an explanation, but that explanation has not reached the emotional center of the problem. Will still feels alone with the consequences of what he kept from Electra. Daphne, however, will have Steffy offering direct emotional support. One character is sinking under guilt. The other is being comforted during a difficult moment. That contrast could shape the tone of Wednesday's episode. It reminds viewers that emotional pain is not always created by the same kind of conflict. Will's pain comes from a choice he made and the trust he may have damaged. Daphne's pain remains less defined in the spoiler, but her need for comfort is clear. Steffy's role also matters because support can influence what a person does next. When someone feels judged, they may hide more. When they feel understood, they may become more willing to speak honestly. The spoiler does not confirm what Daphne will reveal, how much she will share, or what Steffy's comfort will lead to, but this interaction could deepen the emotional connection between them. It could also reveal a more compassionate side of Steffy in this particular moment. Steffy understands pressure. She knows how complicated personal and professional relationships can become. That does not mean she knows everything Daphne is feeling, but she may understand the need for someone to listen without immediately turning the moment into another battle. And Daphne may need exactly that. Still, the main emotional weight of the episode appears to remain with Will. His regret over keeping trade secrets from Electra is not fading, it is growing stronger, pushing him toward what the preview describes as rock bottom. That phrase creates an important question. What does rock bottom look like for Will? The spoiler does not confirm the exact action he takes or how Electra becomes involved in the next moment, so viewers should be careful not to treat an emotional low as proof of a specific outcome. But Will's condition suggests that he cannot continue pretending Bill's explanation solved everything. The professional reason may have been valid. The emotional damage may still be real. Will now has to face the possibility that honesty offered too late may not feel the same as honesty offered freely. Even if he explains himself perfectly, Electra may still need time to process why he kept the truth from her. That does not mean their connection is definitely over. It means the trust between them may be under serious pressure. And trust is not repaired through one explanation. It is repaired through accountability, patience, and consistent honesty. Whether Will is ready for that remains uncertain. His regret proves that he feels the weight of what happened, but regret alone is not the same as taking responsibility. That may become the next emotional test. Will could continue focusing on why he was forced to keep the secret, or he could begin focusing on what the secrecy did to Electra. The difference between those two responses could determine whether Electra feels that he truly understands her pain. Bill's words may still be true. It may have been business. But relationships do not operate like business agreements. Feelings cannot be controlled by rules of confidentiality. Electra's trust cannot be restored simply because Will had a professional reason. Will must deal with both sides of the truth. He had a reason to stay silent. And his silence may have hurt someone he deeply cares about. That emotional contradiction is what makes this storyline compelling. There is no need for an invented villain or a false twist. The drama comes from a choice that may have been necessary in one part of Will's life and devastating in another. Meanwhile, Steffy's support for Daphne offers a softer reminder of what emotional connection can look like. Daphne will not have to face her difficult moment completely alone. Will, however, may feel as though no one can fully understand the guilt he is carrying. Bill can defend the business decision, but only Electra can decide what it means for their trust. That is the pressure hanging over Wednesday's B&B spoilers. Will has reached a breaking point, Steffy is stepping up for Daphne, and two very different emotional struggles are moving forward at the same time. Will's next move could reveal whether his regret will lead to honesty or pull him even deeper into despair. Do you believe Electra should forgive Will because he was protecting trade secrets, or has his secrecy caused damage that cannot be explained away as business? Share your opinion in the comments and subscribe for daily The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, recaps, and dramatic updates.